Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a good one, and I'm going to give you my spoiler review for Star Wars Aftermath Empire's End by Chuck Wendig, the conclusion to the Aftermath trilogy. Once again, this is a spoiler review if you didn't get that from the title or from 5 seconds ago. Click away if you haven't read this book because this book is a great experience to get through, and I highly recommend that you get through it first before you start looking up spoilers on the internet. Trust me, it's a freaking great book. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. This book details the events leading up to the Battle of Jakku, and the events of the Battle of Jakku, and the events just afterwards. It sets up reveals that I think that we're going to get in The Last Jedi, and we're going to get into some of these teases of reveals here in just a second. And those are just so good. There's so many things. There's little hints towards the ancient Sith Empire, and there's this whole thing about the contingency plan that Palpatine put in place in the event of his death, and the whole exploring the unknown regions and where the Empire went. And it's just God, this book was so jam-packed with so many little things. I mean, I'm definitely going to do another whole video, which is just me geeking out about all those stupid little things. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. I'll be recording that just after this one. Not guaranteeing it'll be out on the same day because of editing and stuff, but I am definitely going to be doing one of those. So let's jump into the major plot spoilers. Character-wise, Nora was the one character that I didn't really like in this. She did a lot of the same things that she did in the previous two books, which is jump first, worry about the consequences later. I think that she's sort of chaotic neutral for anybody that plays D&D and watches this channel. Chaotic neutral being that you are... She has this character archetype where she does what she thinks is right, kind of, whatever is best for her, really, and doesn't worry about the consequences. She doesn't necessarily even worry about the ramifications for other people either, which is what bothers me a lot. She does this, like, at the very beginning of the book, she jumps ship to get down to Jakku while the moth is trying to get away from Jakku, and she abandons her son again and flies down to this planet just because her husband might, or this person that she thinks attacked her husband or messed with her husband's head is down there. So she just leaves him again. You know, like the whole point of the first book was her realizing that she made a mistake just leaving him on Akiva. So why would you do it again, Nora? Come on. Character growth, man. Please. And there's a couple of other things that she does throughout this where it's just like, Nora, just deal with it. You know? I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't a big fan of her as a character, but all the other characters, Temmin Wexley, Snap Wexley, he definitely has one of the biggest character arcs throughout this trilogy, and he definitely turns into the young brash pilot instead of whiny teenager that we got in the first book, and even a little bit in the second book. Chuck Wendig definitely did a very good job of moving him from a teenager to a full-fledged adult, a full-fledged fighting adult, an adult that goes to war. His whole baptism by blood and steel and fire that we got in the Battle of Jakku within this book was amazing. He just did... I loved how Temmin grows so much in this tiny little span of time. Because, I mean, obviously he was constantly being berated and barraged is probably a better term throughout the first two books with, you know, little skirmishes and stuff. But the Battle of Jakku is something completely different that he's never experienced, and it definitely shows, and he definitely grows from it, and I love that about it. Jalm is a very minor character in this. He is one of the characters that passes away. He dies in a really cool way. I mean, in a really good, like, self-sacrificial way where he uh, basically throws himself in front of a missile that was going for his U-wing. I liked the actual death scene, the way that he died. I think that that fits the character. But that character has always felt a little uninspired to me. He's just the gruff, brash spec ops guy. But it's the way his death affected Jazz Amari that got to me. That's the one that actually had a real impact to me. It was the way that she handled the fact that he died. And the fact that he died trying to come and save her. He stowed away on that U-Wing in order to get to the Battle of Jakku to try and save Jazz, who was trapped on that planet. And the way that she is affected by his death and by his death for trying to come and save her means a lot, and it definitely had a big impact on me. Uh, Meanwhile, on to Jazz. She definitely she finally finishes transforming. You know, you get it in the first book a little bit and a lot of it in the second book, and then this is kind of that last 10% where she changes from being selfish bounty hunter to do-gooder mercenary, and it that is definitely wrapped up in a really concise and proper way. It doesn't feel like a cop out. It doesn't feel like, oh well, now I'm good because I am. It actually feels like a real character arc throughout this trilogy. Then there's Sinjir. I love Sinjir so much. He finally finishes his transformation into good. He's a good guy. He actually ends up being an advisor for Mon Mothma, for crying out loud. I mean, he's massive. He has a massive influence in the New Republic now because of his intelligence and his wit and his, you know, his cynicism. Even that's one of the reasons why Mon Mothma appointed him as an advisor, is because of his cynicism and because she enjoys having that fresh perspective, and it definitely shows. And he even kind of comes to be at peace. He finds a reason to be by the end of this book, and that is, again, it's incredibly satisfying. Then there's Ray Sloane, who, again, she just grows so much in this book, and I love that. I love character growth. I don't care how they grow necessarily, just as long as it is growth, I'm happy with it. And Sloane is not an exception to that. She goes from being Imperial Grand Admiral and desperately needing her empire back and to this kind of, maybe I'm wrong, to I need to kill this Rax guy, to I'm still going to kill this Rax guy, but maybe I'll become a rebel now. You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to be a rebel. I'm going to go off into dark space with Hux, Armitage Hux, and his dad, Brendel Hux. There we go. Got there eventually. We get this sort of feeling from her that she definitely still wants to have power, but it's more that she wants to have a purpose in that power. And it's a very empathetic bad character, a very empathetic evil character. And again, she did a phenomenal job with that. In terms of minor-ish characters, you've got Armitage Hux, who we see in Force Awakens, and his sort of, you get a little bit of his battle with his dad, Brendel, and you get to see him starting to gain power even as a child in this book, and that's very satisfying to see. It starts to kind of set up why and how Armitage Hux is the way he is in The Force Awakens. He's very brash and very defensive in The Force Awakens, and there's a reason for that, and we got that reasoning in this book. In between his physical disabilities that are kind of hinted towards being there, and his very toxic relationship with his father. Mon Mothma, I wasn't super hot on how she moved, but yeah, again, like I just said earlier with Sloane, Mon Mothma, as long as it's growth, and I'm happy with it. Mon Mothma grew in a. She kind of turned into conniving politician, which I didn't really like too much. I mean, I get it that she knows how to play the game, but she plays the game a little bit too well in a way that she like does all these little conspiratorial type things, and it kind of dirties up the perfect character that Mon Mothma is. Okay, I can live with it. I think that it was done well. It was executed well. I just wasn't super happy with what happened exactly. I wasn't happy with the end result, but okay, whatever. It's their characters, and I can live with it. Then there's Han and Leia. They're very minor characters in this, but it is fun to see Han turning into a father and him kind of, well, maybe the lack of him turning into a father is more like it. It's his, he doesn't even understand, oh, the baby's crying. Maybe I should pick it up, maybe? I don't know. How do I deal with this? And it helps to set up that issue that you might have with that you end up having in TFA in The Force Awakens. Leia's again a very minor character. She's just I'm Leia. I'm you know I'm the face of the rebellion. I'm the face of the New Republic, and yeah, I'm pregnant, but I don't care because I'm pregnant, and I'm still Leia because Leia. And again, there's not really any growth there, but I'm okay with that because we got an entire novel of her growth in Bloodline. Who else? How could I forget? Holy crap! I can't believe I just forgot about her. Commodore Augate. Very minor character. She's this captain of a Starhawk capital ship, a New Republic capital ship, and she is the best military leader character in all of Star Wars, and that includes Grand Admiral Thrawn. I like Thrawn, don't get me wrong, but Commodore Augate is freaking amazing. I love Commodore Augate. She has this perfect. I just empathize so much with her opinions on how warfare is and why it's necessary, and how you still need to be you still need to think about what you're doing. You still need to realize that you're taking lives, and it gets really real with her. She is obsessed with making sure that her people know that warfare is not a good thing, but it is sometimes necessary. And she has this huge, big, self-sacrificial scene where her Starhawk gets severely damaged, and she ends up dragging the Ravager, the one superstar destroyer that we know of at the time, left. We see her get she drags the Ravager down onto Jakku with her, basically, and that's perfect. It just this incredibly gruff, tough, and wise military leader going, "No, you're coming with me," and it was just wonderful. I loved it. Let's see here. The actual battle and Rax. Palpatine was a vindictive punk and basically ordered Rax to ensure that the Empire self-destructed and then got reborn in dark space and to find a new domain, whatever that might mean. And I get it. At first, I felt that it might kind of cheapen the end of Return of the Jedi, but then I realized that it is a massive accomplishment just to be able to kill the Emperor. So I don't think it really cheapens the Return of the Jedi ending. And it does kind of ruin the whole Commodore Augate's self-sacrifice, but it makes sense. It makes sense that Emperor Palpatine would have this attitude of an empire that does not protect its emperor properly does not deserve to exist. Therefore, you must self-destruct it and then disappear off into wild space with the very few people that I have selected to survive. Okay, I can live with that, I guess. I mean, I think that Rax's death and then it being handed over to Sloane or rather Sloane killing Rax, and then Rax going, "You have been chosen now. It is now your destiny." And then he dies, and Sloane kind of goes, "Yeah, okay, I'll go and get into the Imperialis and fly off into dark space. Why not?" And I liked that. I liked that it's Sloane at the head of this new thing that eventually must turn into the First Order. And I think that that was done in a really, again, this book is so wonderfully concise and a perfect wrap up to the trilogy of the Aftermath series. I think that's about all I've got to say in the spoiler review. I look forward to doing my Geek Out review here in just a few seconds. I hope to have a conversation with you guys. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, or you can follow me on social media. You got my Twitter and my Instagram down below. I'm very active on Twitter, kind of active on Instagram. And you can also follow me on Twitch, where I do a live stream every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.